to the quarterly update in fall 2017 of the Affordance computing project. This is Ryan, and this is my first quarter working on the project. Thanks. So let me start with what affordance-aware computing is in a nutshell. Imagine if computers could recognize a variety of conceptually rich situations that we as humans experience in the physical world. What kind of new interactions could we create by having that ability? For example, if imagine a father and son are living in different cities, and during autumn, both of them are walking on streets where there are many beautiful leaves falling from the trees. They could participate in an experience to catch a leaf together, and a small moment like that could be a source of connection between loved ones. This leaf-catching interaction is all about being able to facilitate people by recognizing these situational opportunities, and that situational opportunity is a trigger. Both of them at the same time walking down streets that have leaves falling. What the affordance-aware situational trigger affordance-aware project is all about is being able to define these situational opportunities so that we could create, so that really applications could build on top of an affordance-aware engine, and applications such as a leaf-catching application that would build an interaction. Okay, so the research question is how designers can express conceptually rich situations in a way that a computer could recognize them. These conceptually rich situations are defined, often we define them with words because that's the best way we know how to describe it. But those words, it takes a lot of thought process to turn that concept into actual features that a computer knows how to sense. And when I mean a computer, I really mean, in this case, mobile phones that we carry around in our pockets. How can our mobile phones sense the types of situations we are during our daily lives? Let's keep on going with this example of this leaf catching experience. Really, I want to a situation where a person is walking where there is leaves falling from trees. Okay, so you can creators describe situations with words, and one of the design characteristics of my system, Affordance Finder, is that we want to bridge the gap between connecting what a human knows and can express and what a computer can recognize. We start with one of the most informative pieces of sensing on a phone, which is the GPS, where a person is, and we can use data sets like Yelp to uncover places that a situation can happen. So, okay, where there's leaves falling from trees, apartments. Okay, so what just happened was that it tried to find, based on its understanding of all the types of places that Yelp categorizes, where this thing could happen. The situation is a little bit too complex for all these conditions, and it gives us apartments, which isn't exactly what I was imagining. However, a Finder gives you abilities to break down a situation. So I'm going to actually define a situational helper that is really about leaves falling from trees. So I want to find a place that has leaves falling from trees. And you can see how I've decomposed my original situation into another situation, which I hope to be able to define. Again, apartments. So I want to back up, and this isn't a perfect interface, but you can imagine that leaves falling from trees might give you parks. So I'm going to again go here to define a situational helper. Oops, I'm going to go back to our original one, walking where there's leaves falling from trees, and I'm going to define a new one, maybe falling leaves. Where are there falling leaves? So the design is that we want to give you all the possible features that a computer can recognize that is relevant to this idea. So a lot of these are not coming up, and I'm sorry that they're not making sense. But you can imagine that maybe in wildlife control. No, that's not exactly it. Skilled nursing. So you can see that this interface is giving you the ability to filter through the potential locations that could apply to this affordance. I'm not getting what I want here, so nature is maybe among nature. I'm gonna cancel some of these. Okay, so nature helps. Nature gives me parks, hiking, and what we can do is users will down select from a curated list of potential places that you could find nature. Ski schools, no. Horseback riding, but I like farms. That could be interesting. And playgrounds, I can imagine trees being there. So it gives lakes. Often there's trees near lakes. Attraction farms. The point is that what we found in user tests is that coming up with an exhaustive list of where you could find nature is hard to express to a computer. But if the computer tells you a hypothesis of what it thinks nature is, you can down select, and then we can arrive at a sensing block like nature that is well defined for a computer. So we can go here for falling leaves again. I've gone back to falling leaves, and you can just define falling leaves by if it is nature. And going back to our original situation, walking where there's falling leaves from trees. People walking. We can continue with this decomposition process. Someone has already defined in this interface in the system that for walking. So we can use walking as a way to define this situation. So that's complete and the process is over. Ideally, that's how decomposition of rich situations would happen, but we haven't found a lot of evidence during user tests how exactly people decompose situations. It's a mix because some interactions I've had, people will try to define a rich situation like this into the activity you might be doing, like walking, and places, locations. Or in this case, we defined it through just decomposing the different words in a sentence: walking and falling leaves. It's not clear yet how users should be scaffolded towards this decomposition process. So that's some additional work that needs to be done. But what is exciting is when they're trying to focus on defining a concept like nature, we can find at least relevant locations that Yelp can recognize that can actually be sensed by mobile phones. The other bit of this was that this interface also, because it's using situations that other people have previously defined, these types of ideas give creators a sense of creativity. So what I mean by this is, what we found was that when people were trying to define another situation, like people who are listening to music near the water, I'm imagining a daytime scene where someone is maybe running and listening to music, running by a lake or running by the beach. And when I'm looking through what other people have built, I see this interesting block called situational block called people holding umbrellas, and it changes. I'm my creativity mode. People holding umbrellas makes me think, oh man, I didn't even think it could be raining, and people are maybe holding umbrellas because it's raining and the situation is a little bit more romantic. People were listening to music near the water, holding umbrellas makes me think that people could be listening to the same song together, and really it just colors the situation and adds to the richness. That's something that needs to be explored further too, past this quarter, is how to encourage more of these types of tangential thinking related to the situations that people have already defined. And some of this tangential thinking can create really interesting experiences, as I've showcased in this example. There's still a lot to be done for this development environment for defining human situations, but some of these design characteristics get at this point that we want to be able to turn the expressions of human situations into a form into features that a computer can recognize. Thanks for looking at Affinder, and I think that's about it.